Swag tag, baby.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Euphoria MusiK, EMP. There's a lot of young producers, beatmakers that I know that really want to improve themselves, improve on what they're working on, what they want to do. So I guess this would be some study material for y'all. There's a couple topics I wanted to cover with y'all. Processing sounds, sound selection, getting different plugins, editing sounds and customizing, using everything that you have, EQ and compression, of course, and just random, in my opinion, mixing techniques. A lot of people say that I have a pretty good ear for my mixes and stuff. A lot of people like my mixes. If you want to hear some before playing the rest of the video, it's right up there. Check me out. And also, if you like the video, subscribe. I'm not a real big YouTuber. I don't put up that many videos. I don't spam people with YouTube videos, but I thought this would be real informational for a lot of producers or people that want to go into beat making and production, and they want to get their sounds good. Like, there's a lot of people online, SoundClick and everything else, and people are making beats, and they might be pretty hot. Thing is, you want to make sure that your mix sounds good, because half, if not more, of the beat is going to be your mix over than just your melodies and what you're putting on there. Of course, those are very important, but if you just have everything clashing and basically hurting the person's ears because they can't tell this instrument from another instrument, then you're not doing what you want. You're not, all that work that you put in there into that beat is just washed. Like, there's nothing for a person to say, oh, I like that sound or something like that. They could barely hear it while a chorus was playing because everything else was so loud, or everything was so muddy and mushed up. So that's what this video is going to help try to put out to y'all. We're going to go through the mix. So thanks for checking me out, and here we go. Let's do it. Get started with playing the track. Right here, I pulled up the track. I'm going to play basically the chorus and part of the verse. So here we go. That's pretty much the track, and it has another change up at the end, but if y'all want to hear that, just go to the website. Okay, so this is the track. It's about 46 tracks, because it has drum layers, sound layers, and effects and samples and stuff like that I put into the beat. We'll first start with the first sound that I found. This is inside of Predator. Okay, that's how it sounds. I don't know why I played like that, but this is the sound that I used. This is the sound that I used out of here. Yeah. That's how it sounds, but that's with modulation going up. That's what I mean about using the tools that you have. You need to use the tools you have to change the sound that you have available. If you're going to use presets, try to mess around with all these little knobs that are in here. That'll give you a different sound and something unique. It won't sound so preset-ish Yes, I made up a word. So just change it up. And about right there, that's where I found the sound that I wanted from the preset. I'm going to see if I can find another sound that I modified. Let's see. Okay, everybody knows that sound. It's a hit from Nexus called the Pt.1. Everybody knows this sound pretty much. A lot of people have Nexus. It's inside of the expansion for Nexus Dance Orchestra. So it's Pt.1. Everybody knows it. But without all the EQ and plugins that I put on here, it just sounds like a real deep hit. Like you can hear all the bass in there. And with the EQ I have right here, you can actually see where all that bass is. I'll look right over here. Okay, here it is. You can see all of that low end that's right here. In most of your tracks, you don't really need that much. For a hit to be present and just have like that presence in it, like I wanted in this track, you just EQ it down right here, right there, right there. So you see I cut it off where this red is. It's about 50 negative at 100 hertz, and I start cutting it off there and then just fine-tuning the sound so it has a little less bump from the low end, a little bit of sub that's in there that's gonna really fight with your sub. If you have a 808, like just a single hit, or if you had a long drawn out 808 sound, it's going to fight with that. So you want to bring down the sound of your instruments right around that EQ. So right around like 50 and 100, you want to start bringing it down there, because that's where your kicks are really going to hit at, or your bass lines. Okay, now we're pretty much just going to get into all the instruments. We're going to do the drums last. That's not really how I mix, but I want y'all to hear the instruments, because really what a lot of people have problems with is getting all their instruments to stick out. Have certain instruments stick out over other ones, but still have those other ones behind it present, not just muddied up in the back. So I'm going to play with these. These have all plugins on them. They all have like EQs and compressors and stuff like that. Not all your sounds are going to need some compression or anything, but to really make something pop out, that's what a compressor helps to do. And I'll explain the compressors when I get into the drums and the kicks and snares. So this is what all the sounds in the chorus sound like with all my plugins on them. Okay, so you can hear all of the sounds pretty clear, and they all sound like they're not too muddy in the bass area. That's because you want a high pass. A lot of the sounds that you're going to use don't need all that low end that's there. Like you pretty much want to find out in that sound where the presence is at, where's the majority, the frequencies of that instrument, where are they going to stick out the most, and where do they need to just settle down some. They don't need to be there as much. And you can hear that by just like playing them. You play it without a plugin, without the EQ or anything on it. I'm going to play the choir, for instance. A lot of people have choirs in their southern tracks. So. Okay, and that choir is also layered with other sounds inside the plugin. But without the EQ on there, it sounds... The choir in the background of the strings pretty much gives it more low end, and you don't sometimes, like in this track I didn't really want that, so you add the EQ, cut it off coming around 200 hertz, and bringing up this higher portion right here. This is where vocals, and that's about That's about 3K. Most vocals really point out at about 1K and 500 to like 1K and a little higher than that, maybe like 2K. And right there I wanted more presence and more air into the vocals, so I put it up at about 3K. Here's one of those sounds that I was talking about that has a compressor on it to make it pop out more. I'm going to play it without the plugins, the compressor, and the EQs that I have on there. And this is what it sounds like coming straight out of the plugin. You can hear that sort of chirp sound in the high end. And that's really what I wanted in this track too. I wanted that sound to pop out more. So what I did, this is quick, in my opinion, random mixing tip. Get third party compressors, EQs, and stuff like that, because they